children. I hope all of you are enjoying and doing your work systematically at home. Please keep in your mind that you should always read the textbook. Don't depend only on the notes that I am giving you. I am really happy that many of you had submitted the notebook for correction. There are few students who had not submitted. Those students, please complete your work and send it to me. Don't make the teacher repeat this many times. You are grown-up children and you must understand, when a teacher asks you to send the notebook, please send it in right time. I am really happy that many of you have improved your work, the way you do the work, the way you study, everything. And please see that when we call you, attend the phone. And feel free to clear your doubts also. We had already completed, or we have come to the end of the chapter, Why Do We Fall In? Today, I thought of giving you few more information related to the diseases that are spreading in our locality now. It's not possible for us to discuss all the diseases, but I thought of giving you few general ideas, few general information about the common diseases that is spreading in our locality. And the most important of all is to maintain proper personal and community hygiene. We must maintain a good personal hygiene and also keep our surroundings neat and clean. By keeping our surroundings clean, to some extent, we can prevent the breeding places for mosquitoes, flies, etc., which are the vectors of spreading certain diseases, communicable diseases. And nowadays, in all medias, we are hearing, seeing the different things that we should follow to prevent ourselves from this pandemic situation or the disease that is spreading now. So take things seriously, and also at the same time see that you take good food items and try your level best to increase or improve your immunity. Immunity alone can prevent ourselves from getting diseases. Since you are grown-up children, parents need not come behind you to eat or to do things that have to be done to prevent diseases. So here in this class, I thought of showing you few videos so that you may get some information related to certain serious diseases, communicable diseases, the importance of vaccination, etc. So I am sure that this session or today's session will be an informative session for each one of you. Certain things you may be familiar with or you would have heard about it, but still hear it once again. It will be a useful session because it is a disease that we face every day or every time in our life. So please take the session seriously, watch it, and let it be an helpful session for you. Dengue virus. It causes dengue fever. Let us now discuss the symptoms, preventive measures, etc. for the dengue fever. Dengue is a mosquito-borne infection caused by dengue virus. Severe forms of the disease, dengue, hemorrhagic fever, and dengue shock syndrome principally affect children. Dengue is transmitted primarily by Aedes aegypti mosquitoes. Some of the symptoms are sudden onset of high fever, severe headache, pain behind the eyes which worsens with eye movement, body aches and joint pains, nausea or vomiting. Dengue hemorrhagic fever. Severe and continuous pain in abdomen, bleeding from the nose, mouth and gums or skin bruising, frequent vomiting with or without blood, black stools like colta, excessive thirst, pale cold skin, restlessness or sleepiness. There is no specific medication for treatment of a dengue infection. Persons who think they have dengue should use pain relievers and avoid aspirin. Proper rest is essential. Drink plenty of fluids. Consult a physician. Now let us watch a video through which we can understand all these things which we discussed at a glance.
Today's topic is dengue, an acute infectious disease that is characterized by headache, severe joint pain, and a rash that is caused by a single-stranded RNA virus of the genus Flavivirus, or species dengue virus, transmitted by mosquitoes of the genus Aedes, called also breakbone fever, dandy fever, or dengue fever. Causes. The viruses that cause dengue fever are spread by mosquitoes of the species Aedes aegypti, and sometimes also by Aedes albopictus. Aedes mosquitoes are usually found in urban and suburban areas, as they like to breed in man-made containers, like tires, flower pots, and household water. Aedes albopictus mosquitoes have been transported to America and Europe by Asian products, like used tires and lucky bamboo. These mosquitoes can survive sub-freezing temperatures, which has allowed dengue to spread to cooler climates. Signs and symptoms. Symptoms of dengue fever typically develop between 3 and 14 days after a person is bitten by an infected mosquito. Classic symptoms include fever, headache and pain behind the eyes, severe muscle and joint pains, the source of dengue's nickname, breakbone fever, extreme fatigue, rash appearing between the 2nd and 5th day of fever, tendency to bleed from the skin or nose, bloody stools or heavy menstrual bleeding, nausea and vomiting, respiratory symptoms such as a cough, sore throat, or nasal congestion. These symptoms usually last for 3 to 7 days, at which point the fever breaks. After the fever breaks, people either start to get better or get much worse, developing severe dengue.
Next disease that we are going to learn is malaria.
One evening, after returning home from her lectures, Zara developed an extremely high temperature. Also, she had frequent severe chills and sweating intermediately. What was really wrong with her? A few diagnostic tests revealed that Zara was suffering from malaria. And now, she was given all the possible best treatments to recover as quickly as possible. But how did she get infected with malaria in the first place? What could have caused it? And how did the infectious agent take over her body? Let's learn this infectious disease in detail in this video. To begin with, can you tell me what causes malaria? We've always heard mosquito bites are the root cause of malaria. So are mosquitoes responsible for this infection? No. You'd be surprised to know that mosquitoes do not cause malaria, but just spread it. And what do we mean by this? The actual causative agent of malaria is the protozoan called the Plasmodium. Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malaria, Plasmodium falciparum are a few species of Plasmodium that cause malaria in humans. Among these, Plasmodium falciparum is the most violent and can also be life-threatening. So from where does a mosquito come into the picture? Well, the protozoan Plasmodium lives as a parasite in the female Anopheles mosquito. From there, it gets transmitted to the humans with a mosquito bite. Hence, it's the infected mosquito bite which can cause malaria and not the insect itself. Thus, the complete life cycle of the malarial parasitic protozoa involves two hosts. The first one is the female Anopheles mosquito, and the second one is the human host. Let's understand the complete life cycle of the malarial parasite. It all begins when an infected mosquito bites a human. This helps transfer the malarial parasite into the human body. In order to enjoy her blood meal, the female Anopheles mosquito secretes her saliva into the human bloodstream to prevent blood coagulation. It's with this secretion that the parasite gets a chance to enter the human body. The disease-causing Plasmodium gets transferred from the mosquitoes to the humans in the form of sporozoites. Sporozoites is a stage in the life cycle of the Plasmodium. At this particular stage, they are capable to cause an infection in the human body. And how do they do that? Once they enter the bloodstream of the humans, they eventually reach their target, that is, the liver. Here, they attack the liver cells and stay inside them for quite a long time. They reproduce asexually in order to increase their number. After that, they release themselves back into the bloodstream by bursting out the liver cells. The form in which they are released into the bloodstream is known as the merozoites. These merozoites now target the red blood cells, the RBCs. Now, in the RBCs, the merozoites develop into a ring-like structure called the trophozoite. This form can have two fates. Most of the trophozoites begin with the asexual cycle to give rise to a new merozoites. And this occurs exponentially. The number of merozoites produced is too large for the RBCs to contain. Hence, they are released out with the bursting of the RBCs. The released merozoites can now attack new RBCs and keep increasing their population exponentially. The other fate of the trophozoites is entering a sexual cycle. With this, the trophozoites give rise to two different gametocytes. Gametocytes, in simple terms, are like the germ cells of Plasmodium. When a non-infected mosquito approaches the infected human for a blood meal, then these gametocytes quickly pass into the mosquito's body with the sucked blood. Now here, in the mosquito's body, both male and female gametocytes, which are like the germ cells, fuse to form a zygote. That is, the fertilization of these gametocytes results in the formation and the development of a zygote in the mosquito's gut. From here, a structure called oocyst is developed which crosses the gut wall and reaches the salivary glands. Here, the oocyst now releases several sporozoites, which are the mature infective forms of the parasite, ready to infect a new healthy individual with the next blood meal. So when this female Anopheles mosquito bites a healthy person, the sporozoites get transmitted, thus repeating the complete cycle and causing the infection. This was about malaria.
Next disease that we are going to focus on is COVID-19 caused by coronavirus.
There are so many rumors and myths which are floating around regarding the coronavirus, which has been the hot topic, and also the world has declared the health emergency. So many of the individuals have their own opinion about the coronavirus. In spite, the World Health Organization as well as the Center for Disease Control has been giving a proper educational resource to the general public. So here I am quoting the same resources, and I want to give the inputs to all the public about the coronavirus. Here we have the questionnaire regarding each and every point regarding the coronavirus infection. Coronaviruses are the large family of viruses which are found in both animals and humans. Some infect people and are known to cause illness, which is ranging from the common cold to more severe disease such as middle-aged respiratory syndrome and severe acute respiratory syndrome. So a novel coronavirus is a new strain of coronavirus that has not been previously identified in the humans. The novel means new, right? So had not previously detected before the outbreak which was reported in Wuhan, that is in China, in the late 2019, that is at the end of December 2019. So the novel coronavirus is from the same family of the viruses as severe acute respiratory syndrome, but it is not the same virus and it is completely different. So when we talk about how dangerous it is, so as with other respiratory illnesses, infection with the novel coronavirus can cause mild symptoms including a runny nose, sore throat, cough and fever. And fever is considered to be the most common manifestation, as it is seen in almost greater than 90% of the cases. And it can be more severe for some of the individuals. For examples like in children as well as in the older people, that can lead to pneumonia or breathing difficulties. And more rarely, the disease can be fatal, as I already mentioned, that the older people as well as the people with a pre-existing medical conditions such as diabetes and heart disease, these patients are more vulnerable and it is fatal for these individuals, and the individuals become severely ill with the virus.
Symptoms of coronavirus, COVID-19. Novel coronavirus, or 2019 nCoV, is a new strain of coronavirus which was first detected in Wuhan, China in December 2019. The disease caused by novel coronavirus is named as COVID-19. Fever, tiredness, and dry cough are the most common symptoms of COVID-19. Some infected people may also experience aches and pains, nasal congestion, runny nose, sore throat, or diarrhea. Symptoms of COVID-19 are usually mild and begin gradually. Also, surprisingly, some infected people don't even develop symptoms and don't feel unwell. It is estimated that more than 80% of people recover without the need of special treatment. But it is also estimated that 1 out of 6 people suffering from COVID-19 will become seriously ill and will develop difficulty breathing. Also, people with underlying medical problems like high blood pressure, heart problems, or diabetes, as well as older people, are more likely to develop serious illness. It is advised by WHO that people with fever, cough, and difficulty breathing should seek medical attention. Protective measures against coronavirus, COVID-19. Washing hands frequently. Washing your hands with an alcohol-based sanitizer kills viruses and thus stops the spread of COVID-19. Maintaining social distancing. When someone infected with COVID-19 coughs or sneezes, they spray small liquid droplets from their nose or mouth, which may contain the virus. Social distancing is deliberately increasing the physical space between people to avoid spreading illness. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. As our hands touch many surfaces, we may accidentally pick viruses from there. Now, if we touch our eyes, nose, or mouth, we may transfer the virus. The virus can enter our body from there and get us infected. Practice respiratory hygiene. An infected person can help protect people around him if he practices respiratory hygiene, like covering his mouth and nose with his bent elbow while coughing or sneezing. Coronavirus myths. Myth number 1. Eating garlic can help avoid infection. Consuming garlic has its advantages, but as per WHO, it does not protect us from COVID-19. Myth number 2. Drink water every 15 minutes. There's no evidence to suggest that this virus can be flushed out of the system by drinking a lot of water. Myth number 3. Don't eat ice cream. It is being believed that not eating cold food and thus keeping the body heated will make it difficult for the virus to survive. This is not true. Myth number 4. Drinkable silver. Some are suggesting drinking tiny particles of silver suspended in liquid. It is risky to do so, and it is not shown to cure COVID-19 nor boost our immunity. Myth number 5. Holding breath. If a person can hold breath for more than 10 seconds, then one can avoid infection. Experts say this is simply not true. Myth number 6. Use of vodka as a hand sanitizer. This is not true because it does not contain enough alcohol to kill the virus.
So it is very important for us to know about the spread of the infection from person to the person. And we have been getting the results as well as from the data that this infection has been spreading from person to the person. So stay aware of the latest information on the outbreak which is available on the WHO website, and take care of your health by doing some of the important steps. That is, wash your hands frequently with an alcohol based hand rub or soap and water. Why it is important? So washing your hands with an alcohol based hand rub or soap as well as water kills the virus if it is on your hands. So it maximum prevents the spread of virus to you. And another important thing is the maintenance of the social distance, that is maintaining social distancing. So maintaining at least 1 meter, that is 3 feet distance between yourself to the other people is extremely important at this point, particularly those who are coughing, sneezing and have a fever, because these are the symptomatology which can say that they may be infected with this deadly virus. And why it is important? Because when someone who is infected with a respiratory disease like novel coronavirus coughs or sneezes, they project small droplets containing the viruses, and these small droplets which are thrown into the air has lot of virus. And if the person is very close, 1 feet or 2 feet distance, it is very easy for this individual to take that virus through the inhalation and another person can get infected. That is the reason if you are too close, you can breathe in the virus and there is a much more danger that the virus can enter in your body. And another important step what you have to take here is avoid touching eyes, nose as well as mouth, because hands touch many surfaces which can be contaminated with the virus. So if you touch your eyes, nose or mouth with your contaminated hands, you can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. That's the reason you have to take proper care over here. If you have a fever, cough and difficulty breathing, it is important for now at this point that you need to seek a medical care as early as possible. And also tell your healthcare provider if you have traveled in the area in the China where the novel coronavirus has been reported, or if you have been in close contact with someone who has traveled from the China and has the respiratory symptoms, because it is very important that you have to explain your symptomatology to your healthcare provider when you have such kind of symptoms. And why it is important? Because whenever you have a fever, cough as well as difficulty in breathing, it is important to seek a very immediate medical attention promptly, as this may be due to the respiratory infection or maybe any other serious condition. And important point to be noted here that the respiratory symptoms with fever can have a range of causes, and depending on your personal travel history and circumstances, the novel coronavirus could be one of them. So why to take a chance? So you have to go to your healthcare provider immediately when you see such kind of symptoms. And if you have a milder respiratory symptoms and has no travel history to or within China, carefully practice basic respiratory and hand hygiene and stay home until you are recovered if possible. So this is the way you can prevent maximum of the contaminating with deadly coronavirus. Now coming towards the wearing of the mask. So wearing a medical mask can help limit the spread of some of the respiratory disease. However, using a mask alone is not at all guaranteed to stop infections and should be combined with other preventive measures, including the hand and respiratory hygiene and avoiding the close contact, at least that is 1 meter, that I have already mentioned, that you have to maintain the 3 feet distance between yourself and the other people. So before putting on the mask, wash hands with alcohol based hand rub or soap and water, and cover your mouth and nose with mask, and make sure that there are no gaps between your face and the mask, and avoid touching the mask while using it. If you do, clean your hands with alcohol based hand rub or soap and water, and replace the mask with the new one as soon as it is damp, and do not reuse the single use mask at any cost. And to remove the mask, remove it from behind. Do not touch the mask from the front and discard the mask immediately in a closed bin. After that, wash hands with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. So when we talk about the survival rate of the viruses and how long does it survive on the surfaces, so it is still not known how long that this novel coronavirus survives on surfaces. Although the preliminary information suggests that the virus may survive a few hours, and simple disinfectants can kill the viruses, making it no longer possible to infect the people. That is the reason, again and again, I want to repeat the same word, that maintenance of the hygiene is extremely important to prevent the spread of the infection to you as well as to the community as well. So majority of the people have a doubt, because these days whomever they got common cold, cough or sneeze, even with the fever, they got immediately devastated thinking that it is a novel coronavirus. So an important public information what you need to know is how it can be differentiated between the symptoms of the common cold and flu as well as the symptomatology what is arising from the novel coronavirus. So the people with the novel coronavirus infection, the flu or a cold, typically develop respiratory symptoms such as fever, cough and runny nose. So even though many symptoms are alike, they are caused by the different viruses. So because of their similarities, it is difficult to identify the disease based on symptoms alone. So that's why the laboratory tests are required to confirm if someone has the novel coronavirus. So as always, we have to take the guidelines from the World Health Organization. The WHO recommends that the people who have cough, fever, as well as the difficulty in breathing should seek medical care as early as possible, and the patients should inform the healthcare providers if they have traveled in the 14 days before they developed such kind of symptoms, or they have been in close contact with someone who has been sick with the respiratory symptoms. So the question is, how long is the incubation period? So the incubation period is a time between infection and the onset of the clinical symptoms of the disease. So the current scenario actually estimates of the incubation period, which is ranging between 2 to 11 days, and these estimates will be refined as more data become evident as well as available these days. And based on the information from the other coronavirus diseases such as MERS as well as SARS, the incubation period of the novel coronavirus could be up to 14 days. So many people are taking antibiotics like they generally do on-counter medications for all different types of flu as well as respiratory illness. No, not at all. Here you should not take any kind of antibiotics, because antibiotics do not work on viruses. They only work on bacteria, that is bacterial infections. So the novel coronavirus is a virus, right? So and therefore the antibiotics should not be used as a means of prevention or a treatment.
This is SARS-CoV-2. It belongs to the family of coronaviruses named for the crown-like spikes on their surfaces. SARS-CoV-2 can cause COVID-19, a contagious viral infection that attacks primarily your throat and lungs. What actually happens in your body when you contract the coronavirus? What exactly causes your body to develop pneumonia? And how would a vaccine work? The coronavirus must infect living cells in order to reproduce. Let's have a closer look. Inside the virus, genetic material contains the information to make more copies of itself. A protein shell provides a hard protective enclosure for the genetic material as the virus travels between the people it infects. An outer envelope allows the virus to infect cells by merging with the cell's outer membrane. Projecting from the envelope are spikes of protein molecules. Both a typical influenza virus and the new coronavirus use their spikes like a key to get inside a cell in your body, where it takes over the cell's internal machinery, repurposing it to build the components of new viruses. When an infected person talks, coughs, or sneezes, droplets carrying the virus may land in your mouth or nose and then move into your lungs. Once inside your body, the virus comes in contact with cells in your throat, nose, or lungs. One spike on the virus inserts into a receptor molecule on your healthy cell membrane like a key in a lock. This action allows the virus to get inside your cell. A typical flu virus would travel inside a sac made from your cell membrane to your cell's nucleus that houses all its genetic material. The coronavirus, on the other hand, doesn't need to enter the host cell nucleus. It can directly access parts of the host cell called ribosomes. Ribosomes use genetic information from the virus to make viral proteins, such as the spikes on the virus's surface. A packaging structure in your cell then carries the spikes in vesicles which merge with your cell's outer layer, the cell membrane. All the parts needed to create a new virus gather just beneath your cell's membrane. Then, a new virus begins to bud off from the cell's membrane. Now, with the virus spreading in your body, how can you develop pneumonia symptoms? For this, we'll have to look into your lungs. Each lung has separate sections called lobes. Normally, as you breathe, air moves freely through your trachea or windpipe, then through large tubes called bronchi, through smaller tubes called bronchioles, and finally into tiny sacs called alveoli. Your airways and alveoli are flexible and springy. When you breathe in, each air sac inflates like a small balloon. And when you exhale, the sacs deflate. Small blood vessels called capillaries surround your alveoli. Oxygen from the air you breathe passes into your capillaries, and then carbon dioxide from your body passes out of your capillaries into your alveoli so that your lungs can get rid of it when you exhale. Your airways catch most germs in the mucus that lines your trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles. In a healthy body, hair-like cilia lining the tubes constantly push the mucus and germs out of your airways, where you might expel them by coughing. Normally, cells of your immune system attack viruses and germs that make it past your mucus and cilia and enter your alveoli. However, if your immune system is weakened, like in the case of a coronavirus infection, the virus can overwhelm your immune cells, and your bronchioles and alveoli become inflamed as your immune system attacks the multiplying viruses. The inflammation can cause your alveoli to fill with fluid, making it difficult for your body to get the oxygen it needs. You could develop lobar pneumonia, where one lobe of your lungs is affected, or you could have bronchopneumonia that affects many areas of both lungs. Pneumonia may cause difficulty breathing, chest pain, coughing, fever and chills, confusion, headache, muscle pain, and fatigue. It can also lead to more serious complications. Respiratory failure occurs when your breathing becomes so difficult that you need a machine called a ventilator to help you breathe. These are the machines that save lives and that medical device companies currently ramp up production for. Whether you would develop these symptoms depends on a lot of factors, such as your age and whether you already have an existing condition. While this all sounds scary, the push to develop a coronavirus vaccine is moving at high speed. Studies of other coronaviruses led most researchers to assume that people who have recovered from a SARS-CoV-2 infection could be protected from reinfection for a period of time. But that assumption needs to be backed by empirical evidence, and some studies suggest otherwise. There are several different approaches for a potential vaccine against the coronavirus. The basic idea is that you would get a shot that contains faint versions of the virus. The vaccine would expose your body to a version of the virus that is too weak to cause infection, but just strong enough to stimulate an immune response. Within a few weeks, cells in your immune system would make markers called antibodies. which would be specific for only the coronavirus, or specifically its spike protein. Antibodies then attach to the virus and prevent it from attaching to your cells. Your immune system then responds to signals from the antibodies by consuming and destroying the clumps of viruses. If you then catch the real virus at a later stage, your body would recognize it and destroy it. In other words, your immune system is now primed. Collecting evidence on whether this will be possible, safe, and effective is part of what's taking researchers so long to develop a vaccine. It's a race against time to develop a vaccine amid a pandemic. Each step in vaccine development usually takes months, if not years. An Ebola vaccine broke records by being ready in 5 years. The hope here is to develop one for the new coronavirus in a record-breaking 12 to 18 months. While all this will take time, stay home if you can, to protect the most vulnerable. And don't forget to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds and as often as possible.
Let us now understand what is immunity and vaccination.
Immunisation is a simple and effective way to help protect children and adults against serious diseases. By immunising your child, you give them the best start to a healthy future, and you protect your community by reducing the spread of disease.
Kia ora whānau, I'm Dr. Kitty Bird. Every day your body comes across many different types of germs. Some of these can make you very sick. Your body has a natural defence system called the immune system, which helps fight off germs that can cause serious disease. One of the ways your body fights off germs is by making special antibodies that know what a particular germ looks like and can find and destroy it. The first time your body meets a new germ, it can take some time for your body to make these antibodies. Until those germs are destroyed, you might get sick. But later on, if you come across the same germ again, your body can remember it and fight it off before you get sick. This is why once you've had a disease, you usually don't catch it again because your body fights off the germ before you can get sick. Immunisation protects against diseases in the same way. It gives your immune system a practice run with a broken up or weakened germ, so it won't give you the disease. Your body learns how to recognise those germs and is ready to fight them off before they can make you sick. You may get a fever or a headache after you are given a vaccine. This is a common response to the vaccine and should pass quickly. If you're worried at any time, talk with your doctor or nurse. Once you've been immunised, if you come across the same germ again, your body will remember it and fight off the germ before you get sick. This is how immunisation protects against disease. There's another way that immunisation can help protect our whānau, and that's by making sure that we don't even come into contact with preventable diseases in the first place.
When only a few people are immunised, diseases can spread very quickly. When more people are immunised, diseases can't spread as quickly, but are still able to spread. But when most people are immunised, disease can't spread through our community, and so most people stay well. There are always a few people in every community who are either too young to be immunised or have a weakened immune system, such as cancer patients. These people can get very sick when they catch a disease, so it's really important that everyone around them is immunised. So, if enough people are immunised, the community as a whole can be protected. This is called community immunity.
In New Zealand, measles outbreaks among teenagers and young adults are still common because many of them were not immunised as young children.
Diseases like whooping cough or measles can spread quickly. If most of the people in a community are not immunised, these diseases can spread rapidly and lead to an outbreak. Community immunity can help to prevent this risk.
When we choose to immunise, we not only protect ourselves, we protect our whānau and our whole community. The National Immunisation Schedule sets out the best time to get immunised so that your child can be protected when they need it most.
For example, women need more protection against influenza while they are pregnant. babies need to be protected as young as possible against whooping cough and other serious diseases. In New Zealand, babies' first immunisations are due at 6 weeks, 3 months and 5 months. Some vaccines are recommended at a slightly older age. At age 15 months, young children get immunised against measles and chickenpox, as well as boosters for some of their earlier vaccines. Boosters are important as they remind your immune system's memory to keep protecting against harmful germs.
It's important to immunise on time. Delaying immunisation can put your child at greater risk of catching a serious disease. All vaccines used in New Zealand have been thoroughly tested to make sure they are safe and that they work well before they are approved, a process that can take many years. Safety monitoring continues even after the vaccines are approved and being used by millions of people around the world. That's how we know the benefits of immunisation far outweigh any potential risk, and why immunisation is recommended by the Ministry of Health and health professionals.
So again, we will be meeting only after the Onam holidays. I wish you all a very happy Onam. Thank you.